We're going to have a look at section 7, assessment task 1. So as you can see, these are knowledge questions related to the information covered in section 7. So what we've also included here is a copy of the full learner resource, so that when you're doing the questions, if you don't want to have to go back through all the steps of the LMS, you can just click on this and it'll bring up all the content in a manual. If you're really keen to print it up, you can obviously download it and print it up there. So as mentioned, for this task, it is knowledge questions. So you need to go to the quiz. So I'm looking at it from a teacher point of view, and you need to answer the 5 questions. So for this question, we're looking at both internal and external sources of information relevant to forecasting market trends. And you're required to do that for all these different elements of business operations. So you're just required to mention one internal source and one external source for each. Now, information on this, the difference between internal and external, and what all these different elements mean in regards to business operations can be found in your notes. But at times you may find that you are repeating the same thing. So source of internal information, for example, might be internal market research, whereas external might be industry reports, Bureau of Statistics, all those sort of things might be external. Now, an example highlighted here, so if we look at this one, just say we use industry reports as an example here, that response also might be relevant down here, here, and here. So just because you've got it listed in one place doesn't mean you can't use it somewhere else, because it might be a relevant external source in other spaces as well. So for question 2, you're looking at an internal and external source of information that you have used for your organisation to forecast market trends. So you need to list one internal one and one external one you've used. So the difference with question 1, this relates to just what typical businesses used, whereas question 2, you're relating it back to your organisation from the first part of the course, your social media organisation. For question 3, we need to look at legislation and regulation and how these affect business and marketing practices. Now for this section, the information can be gathered from your LMS or from the manual provided. It'll be found in the knowledge evidence component. So you need to go to that knowledge evidence component and it'll provide information on different types of legislation and regulations. For section 4, we're looking at software applications for quantitative analysis and qualitative analysis. And before I get into that, the first thing you're going to need to do is make sure you're aware of the difference between quantitative and qualitative analysis. So you can do that by reading your notes in your manual. Also in your manual, they will mention some examples of software that are relevant to qualitative and quantitative analysis. So you'll need to choose some software applications and then Google search some of the key features related to those applications. So question 5 is a matching answer. Again, this information can be found in your manual. So what you're going to do is match the methods, measures and techniques that are listed here with an explanation of what they are. So you use the drop down box and you choose the one here that relates to the example provided. As discussed, the information required to answer the questions will be able to be found on the LMS or in the manual, but if you're having any issues, please speak to Chloe and she'll be able to direct you to where the information can be found.